say they really are fried big up there, honey. Oh, yeah, fires not for me. Beggars and blighters never look at things. Excuse me. We're the bad mommies and dads pick up my honey, y'all.
It's not the name. We had a and break up with all these yellow. We can never back to that.
Alright, these are my updates here on my rocking, drunken, pistol shooting, singing pirate. And I'll shut this motor off. You can see my motor's rocking here, my pirate's rocking. I put a bigger motor controller. I'm still running it on 12 volts, but I bought this bigger speed controller here to control the speed. So I can really speed that up or almost slow it down to a stop. I have a stereo 20-watt amplifier here. This will be my DMX input. I 3D printed that plate that the connectors fit in. I 3D printed this arm. I 3D printed this rocking mechanism here on the skeleton, and I 3D printed the hold downs for these two power supplies. Now this is the 5-volt power supply over on this side here. That's 5 volts at 60 amps output, and then that's a 30 amp 12-volt power supply there. And then I have some wall boards here for the audio amp. And this up here, this is that's a SP or an ESP32 microcontroller development board. And I have this SD card I wired onto it. That's just one of them adapters from an SD card to a micro SD card. I'm using a SD card inside that micro SD card inside the SD card adapter there. The ESP32 is taking the audio data from that SD card and sending it out as I2S digital audio, which is received by this little circuit here, in which is I2S to audio out board. And then that, of course, goes to my 20-watt amplifier and then to the speaker. I added a speaker here. That's a 20-watt speaker there. And what else? Well, he's not talking, or the 3-axis skull isn't working yet, because this is my latest 3-axis skull. This plate here will go in the skull, and then it can tilt, it can nod, and it can rotate. I'm hoping this is going to work really well, and it's going to be easy to put that into a Home Depot skull for a Home Depot skeleton. Well, that's the update on this. Then I add these terminal boards here. I printed these out on my computer, on my printer, and so I know what all the connections are for. And then it has clear tape over it. I put some 3M spray glue on that board, and I put those labels down. Getting reflection from the window behind me in the camera. So hopefully once I get that 3-axis skull working up there, get that gimbal assembly in that skull, it ought to be pretty nice. A few little more additions I want to put on it, like this. I'm gonna try and get that ESP32 processor to also output DMX files off that SD card, I can do that. It will be a standalone system. Right now it all starts with just this press of this button here.
Yo, pirates right for me. Billy's thunder rifle, drink up about it, yo. Kidnap a rabbit, you don't give a hoot. Ah, boy. Yo, pirates right for me. Kindle and Charles.
So much fun. Here's something I've been working on. I have two ESP32 processor boards, one there, one over here, and each one of them have a SD card hooked up to it with a WAV file on it, and the output then from that goes to these I2S, that's integrated sound chip, to play the WAV file that's on those SD cards. The reason why I set these up, I want to see if they'll stay in sync if I start them both at the same time. So I hooked up this button over here.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Now the file started playing.
For the trick-or-treaters. All the little kids will be coming here for candy.
Yes, they will be asking for candy. But we are going
And it's hooked up, the speakers are hooked up to a 20-watt amplifier here.
Gas on them.
Let's turn them into little creepy bats.
Can't even turn them up all the way, it gets too loud in here. But it looks like those files stay in sync. I'll let them play all the way to the end and they stay in sync. If they start getting out of sync, you start hearing an echo. Once it's through playing, then it'll wait for you to press the button again, and it'll start playing again.